That remake of
Hey, welcome to Australian Commentaries. We're just talking about Beavis and Butthead, but instead we'll stop to talk about Waterworld. Wah, wah. That's the show you're watching. We talk about the other show on that other channel, and then you come here to see our thoughts behind the film, behind the honest trailer. If you stick right to the end, you get deleted scenes and settling a score from last week.
Yeah,
exciting
I'm very
stuff.
curious to check this out.
Yes,
This is new
if I remember to cue it up. But more about Waterworld. It's a film.
It is a film.
It's wet. It's wild.
Very
wild. It's drenched, you could say.
Yeah.
And
it's pretty soaked.
It's I maintain that it is good despite the fact that the hero is terrible. It's a good movie, but a bad story, if that makes sense.
I mean, to me, it's got a lot of good action beats, and Dennis Hopper is having a lot of fun and is fun to watch.
If you had the flip side of Dennis Hopper in that role, like
Jack
Burton, yeah.
Oh yes, if you did it, if the whole movie was more playful like The Smokers, it would be a whole lot better.
If you
trying to be
Jack Sparrow, any Jack.
Yeah, just put a Jack in there.
Traven from Speed.
Just put Jack Nicholson in it as himself.
Yeah, it's just I think it's a fun. Certainly, the action is incredible because it's all real. It's real to me.
Real, damn it.
Bogged down by the miserable era of Kevin Costner that this movie happened to come out in.
I on my rewatch, because I hadn't seen it since I was probably like 15, 16. Younger. Because Postman came out when I had started high school. So yeah, I was in middle school and hadn't watched it since, because I think even this one, I loved everything when I was a kid, and even this one, I think I was like, well,
Yeah.
Now I liked it probably more as a kid because before seeing the film, I read the novelization of Waterworld. I was really into novelizations
John
growing up.
Updike wrote that one.
Yes, I believe John Updike ghost wrote it.
It was Hotel New Hampshire.
It's actually Don DeLeo's
Waterworld.
first
White
uncredited work.
Noise, and then right into the Waterworld novelization.
Yeah.
So they're authors of books.
Sorry, that was just awesome. Oh, I know who wrote the
It was
We're messing with you.
that is who's not.
Oh, darn it. I thought it was a Schmodown
The interesting thing was...
It would be amazing if John Updike wrote the one. I wish that was true.
Oh, I want to live in that world.
You know, Simon Birch was based on an unpublished chapter from the Waterworld novel.
I got into reading from, I think Jurassic Park and Michael Crichton novels. And so,
yes.
And I think because of that, weirdly, I would only read a book if it also had a movie attached.
I definitely
fair.
had a run of this where I only wanted to read the book. I would read ahead, what movies are coming out next year, and then I'd want to read those books. The Firm is the one I remember.
The Firm, definitely.
I read The Firm because I knew there was going to be a Tom Cruise movie that I was going to want to see.
Sphere.
Yeah.
I was like, oh, here comes Sphere.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Pelican Brief.
You know, all the Grishams, all those Grishams.
That weird period where middle schoolers just dipped into Dad Airport books.
Yeah, because they were all
They
classic
do that
movies.
anymore. Nah, they just play Fortnite and jerk off.
Yeah, jerks. They don't appreciate Jack Reacher.
No.
Yeah.
What if Jack Reacher was a Fortnite character? just Jack Reacher going...
Oh, man.
Welcome to our new show, What If Jack Reacher? We just put Jack Reacher into different scenarios.
Maybe Waterworld. Another good Jack.
Yeah, what if he was a muto?
Gills! What if Jack Reacher had kills? Well, what were we talking about again? I totally lost my train of thought. Michael Keaton? No, not Michael Keaton. Kevin Costner.
Good except hero.
Yeah.
Because, watching it back as an adult, in that first sequence and the cool action scene and he's kind of cool at the beginning and it's kind of tense and fun, I was like, wait, is Waterworld good? And then very quickly, it was like, no, I am not.
No.
It's got the bones of a more fun movie, but it just never gets there. Because it occurred to me too while rewatching it that it's kind of a proto superhero movie. He's basically a superhero in this world.
Yeah.
But it just never gets to that point of being
An
fun and exciting.
Aquaman, if you will. A reluctant hero who has to take the reins of.
Right. But it never finds that magic. It never gets to the point where it's fun and exciting and exhilarating to see
because
him.
of the dour
But
Kevin
weirdly,
Costner.
I would say that everything else in the film is that. The smokers are that. The set pieces are that. The idea that they would fly in some dirigible to Mount Everest to save the day is a ridiculous idea.
Yeah,
it's just
way
he is
out
playing
there.
it so miserable and Mad Maxy in a bad way that it's I don't know, whatever. It's uneven. Should we watch it?
Let's do it.
Let's watch. Hit it.
This summer, we're getting honest about summer blockbusters, past and present.
best package in the business.
This is Honest Trailers, Blockbuster Summer.
Who are all these people?
In an era where Michael Bay
On a long
blew
enough
up
timeline, every
Alcatraz
movie will be requested.
and Roland Emmerich blew up the world. Kevin Costner only needed one bomb to blow up Universal in Waterworld.
Now pause. That's not fully true. I mean, it was a big bomb at the time, but like everything else, it makes its money back eventually.
Sure,
This got ridiculed. It's not even in the top 10, I don't think, bombs of all time.
No, it actually ended up doing pretty well
Internationally.
theatrically, especially if you include international. It's just that the budget kept going up.
Yeah.
So it developed this reputation for being a huge turkey. But
And I feel like it was like a proto-internet thing where like the year leading up to it, it was like, what ridiculous story have we heard from Waterworld now? And it was like, it was like that generation.
The Simpsons joke had like, you put in 40 quarters for Waterworld the game.
Right.
Yeah. Whatever.
Yeah, I mean, I think that used to happen a lot with, I mean, it still does, like troubled productions, and the movie becomes kind of, it was like Dark Phoenix, we kind of had an example. Like, we kind of knew before it even opened that at least the studio thought it was disappointing, but this was like magnified because there was just so much less information about movies coming out.
Well, when the set sinks.
We lost a stuntman
Like, that
in the
makes it-
ocean.
That makes it into like the LA Times, and everybody reads it, and then they're like, "Oh man, this movie." Whereas
This
most
movie's
movies,
going to cost $100 million.
$100 million.
In 1995, that was $100 billion.
a ton of money.
People were calling it fish tar.
Yeah.
Oh, LA Times.
You see, kids, Ishtar was a movie that was supposed to do pretty well. Had Dustin Hoffman, Warren Beatty, then was not successful.
Yeah. Anyways, undeserved rep as one of the hugest flops of all time. You don't have 3 stunt shows worldwide if you're a huge flop.
That's right.
That's right.
Anyways,
damn right.
Keep going.
Enter the watery
see the
world
one in Japan.
known as Waterworld, a post-apocalypse where everyone looks like they sleep in SpongeBob's dumpster, full of makeshift vehicles, resource-hoarding warlords, and, here, I'll save you some time, it's Mad Max, but wet. And
Good for
terrible.
Gills. Pause. I wanted to wait for Gills. We had actually discussed should we mix up the Mad Max clips? Like, should we show clips from the older Mad Max movies that this is clearly ripping off because this came before Fury Road? But then we were like, do kids know the old Mad Max movies?
No.
Would they
also,
recognize Lord Humongous? I don't
They
know.
hit the same beats in the other 2 Mad Max. Well, 3. Other 3 Mad Max movies.
Yeah, I mean, that's if I had never seen a Mad Max movie and then I saw this, like when I saw this the first time, it's much more impressive.
Oh yeah,
Because they're taking a lot of inspiration.
Yeah.
Well, not just inspiration. They had the guy that shot Thunderdome shoot this. I think
right.
I didn't know
Cinematographer or something?
either the second one or the third one.
Road Warrior.
Either Road
second,
Warrior or
and
this.
then,
Yeah, shot it.
To give it that Mad Max
Yeah, that-
something.
Yeah.
Everybody's grimy.
Yeah.
Make
Yeah,
them
exactly.
Really grimy.
Well, yeah, this
But wouldn't
shot
it
was
be like
beautiful,
really
but it
clean
grimy.
because they're always in the ocean? No,
the
more
ocean.
grime.
It's gross in the ocean.
Yeah. Briny. Briny.
Yeah,
Everyone's make them brinier.
That's the. No one's salty enough in this movie.
I think the
There
people
aren't
on the
enough
atoll are
salt-
very salty.
There's not enough salty dogs.
They look very salt crusted on that atoll.
That's fair. Okay.
I'm just
okay.
picturing-
But the smokers are very grimy, which I guess,
They're living
you're
in an
working
oil
on an oil
tanker,
tanker.
yeah.
Yeah, fine.
I'm just picturing Kevin Reynolds like stalking up and down the set with one of those old director megaphones, like brinier, never brinier, give me more brine.
brine that extra. He had to get brined, as we're about to find out. Keep playing.
Yeah.
Kevin Costner is the Mariner, a hero with all the charm of a guy getting hit with a bucket of water between
True
takes.
story. They're
Which,
just
to be fair,
slam him with a bucket of cold
he's a
seawater
man
and then
of
say
few
action.
words, like really few words.
My boat.
My boat.
So funny.
That's like the biggest relationship in, the
fact,
film. Is
nobody
like him and
can
his
do
boat, and that's his reaction.
Yeah, him and his boat, much more loving. There's a lot more concern and
Yeah.
compassion for
The
the
man
boat.
and his boat.
And that's the biggest
I mean,
rise
look,
you get out of
have
him.
you ever? I haven't, but I know people who have owned boats, and man, they love those boats.
Yeah, and I mean, they can go back to land at some point. Imagine if you
couldn't.
If you just like not having a boat in Waterworld, you're just dead.
The biggest ongoing feud in my family is way back in the day before my time. My mom's dad was gonna sell his boat, and my dad always really wanted that boat. And my mom made sure he never found out about the boat being on sale, and they still bring it up.
This is its own Waterworld.
Still comes up, man. The boat relationship can't be messed with.
Yeah,
Interesting. I feel like
there's a
there's a lot
sacred
of
bond between
we
man and his boat.
we can pause for boat talk because I feel like people usually regret boats. Like there's a lot of boat lust, and then once you catch the boat, you really are like, oh, now I have to pay all this boat maintenance. There's something wrong with the boat. As you can see from Waterworld, he always needs resin. He always needs supplies.
So much resin.
I think you got to be a special person to really love that boat.
You gotta like fully commit to boat life.
Yeah.
There's no such thing
Yeah.
as a casual boat owner.
Which is frustrating because I feel like it took more paperwork for me to adopt a cat than it probably does for jerks like that to buy a boat and then just immediately discard the boat.
In fairness, I feel like if you live close to where the boating happens, you love your boat. It's those people from like the city 2 hours away. They're like, they don't really know
City
about
boys
their
don't know about-
boats.
don't
They
boat.
don't get back. You don't belong here.
Landlubbers. Anyways,
Our lake.
Boat town.
Unpause. Enough boat talk. Keep going.
In
wish they
fact,
told us called
nobody gets
Boat
to talk
Town.
when he's around.
Why are you?
This is
Talk a
boat
lot.
town.
Shut up. You're too loud. Try sitting still. Shut up. Fact, you talk all the time. Did you say something?
But this mysterious stranger has a mutant power of being super good at rope stuff.
There's always a rope nearby. It's always,
Always.
every action scene, you just start looking at me.
More than even on a sailboat. As you can see, there's ropes everywhere.
No, there's just ropes everywhere he goes, and just
the
tons
world
of
is
rope.
covered in rigging.
It works great.
Oh, good. We had to man that sound effect at the last second.
Watch
Yeah,
this
that's
fish man
the
out
first
of
time
water
watching
on a
it.
mission to save a girl from the only guy in the movie who knows how silly it is.
He had a great run of over-the-top villains. This
On the way,
Mario
our
Brothers
heroic embodiment
speed.
of Florida will learn to do the right thing.
Kid, we got to pitch over the side.
Eventually, anytime now. Right after this,
You really, like,
He's awful.
He spends the whole movie
Eventually.
abusing them.
yeah, Gene Triplehorn takes so much abuse in this movie.
The 90s didn't deserve Eugene Triplehorn.
Yeah.
Yeah,
That's
I
the
feel
guy
like a
with
lot
the
of her roles,
and
she was just
drinking his
getting
own
like
pee.
thrown around.
Yep,
Like Basic
just as soon as
Instinct
he's
2
done
is kind of
gargling his
not
own
nice to
piss.
her.
No?
and pimping out
The
her
movie
mom.
starts with him gargling whiz.
Yeah.
That guy, by
Just
the
gonna
way,
throw
well,
this out
we can
there.
talk about him
Are they
later.
better off with Dennis Hopper? At least they get a jet ski. So take a shot of hydro, top off your go juice,
Every
and count your
post-apocalypse,
jets
you
to
gotta change up
revisit
the vocab
first and
to let you
last
know.
Aquapunk epic
Things have
that
changed.
may have been the laughingstock of Hollywood for being an expensive set-sinking vanity project, but still had the seed of something really cool.
Yeah.
Just cut out all the terrible dialogue,
Well, better not screw up my short game.
most of the characters, the story, and do 20
It's the year
minutes of great practical
2500.
effects and real live action scenes.
Golfing anymore.
Where would you go?
Perfect. Oh man, now I want a churro. Starring Merman, Dad. Merman. Me as soon as I'm home from work. Am I right?
Maracas.
Manoa. Alone?
That's a very subtle
Oh, deep. Very
But
deep.
fudge.
blur.
Anyways,
Butt blur.
yeah, we just blurred the essential part of the fudge.
What is the secret
Yes,
of
that
your
is Jack Black.
flavors?
Bartering.
Never realized.
Has he ever talked
one.
about
Everything's
Pause.
here.
Yes. There's a great. When I was trying to recollect, like, okay, what were all the weird ass stories about this movie? I found a great oral history that is the director, Gene Triplehorn, the girl, I can't remember.
Tina
the actor-
Majorino?
Yeah, and then just Jack
Black.
Black for no reason. And like. Jack, like through the whole thing, Jack Black is really funny because he's a nothing thing in the
Yeah, he's got
movie.
one
Yeah, he's
scene.
very in
Maybe
like
two.
blink and you'll miss it.
So they're just like, was it challenging working with Costner? Do you remember? And he's just like, no, complete pro, would do it again. Like this the whole time.
They never really have a scene together.
No.
He's in an
Oh, yeah,
airplane
no.
circling the boat.
They definitely did not meet on this set.
But yeah, all of his answers are just like 1-2 words.
He's also got a great
He's there for a
pre-fame blink and you miss it appearance in Mars Attacks, Jack Black.
yeah,
He's also
yeah.
like in almost none
He's
of
also the villain in Neverending Story 3.
that. Whoa.
Yeah.
He's also the guy in High Fidelity that works at the record store.
I don't know if you guys know,
and sings
he's
those
one
songs.
half of the band Tenacious D.
He's Kung Fu Panda,
on.
I believe it's pronounced. Okay, keep going.
when I get back.
62 chits.
Have your chits. You the man with the dirt?
What are chits?
I think they're shells, right?
Oh, well, that would be like inflation. Like shells are everywhere. No?
I guess.
Pause. This guy is one of the...
Kim Coates, yeah.
More than an extra. I mean, is this like when Robin Williams passes, you get him? Like, just go real full manic.
The fact that Kim Coates has never played Robin Williams in anything is shocking.
Actually, yeah, that's weird.
What if it's like, paper, where did I get this?
He can do it. He can definitely do it.
I can see him doing that.
He's great. I just...
It's nice to see somebody coming in and really just like doing the most with this stuff.
But that's the thing is like everyone else is doing the most with their parts, except for your dour hero, your dour wet fish of a hero.
Yeah, it's just like he thought this was gonna be like another like JFK, and it's like no, this is the silly you're an ocean mutant and you gotta save the girl, like
because the account is he wanted to be a swashbuckler. Director Kev was like, no, this is a dark gritty thing,
right?
But I also don't. Based on every other thing I've ever seen Kevin Costner do, I don't know how fun and adventurous he sees Swashbuckler.
Yeah,
like, because Robin Hood is
he's
just
never
like,
done...
Marion, I swore I'd protect you. The postman isn't that excited to be
he's
there.
never done just like big, goofy, campy, fun Kevin Costner movie. No. Like as close as he gets is when he does like the sports movie, like Tin Cup. Like not this. Like he's having a lot more fun in Bull Durham and Tin Cup and that stuff.
I've never seen him go like full Errol Flynn.
Right. No.
Okay.
Just even
as a young man. No. So he's always been serious.
Sign my fan petition to remake Waterworld with a Jack in the story.
Any Jack.
Jack Black.
Literally, that would be incredible.
Oh my God, yes. Kind of.
That's right, I have gills.
Should we do a sequel where he's reprising his role from the first one? It's like, what did that smoker do after the Valdez sunk?
Well, I was talking about, wasn't I saying, was that to you today about how I would LARP if it were Waterworld?
Yeah.
If we would all go down to the beach and like dress up in like netting and tridents.
Like Marina Del Rey, however we all get
jet skis
and
build a little atoll, floating like a floaty atoll out of
there's
an inflatable thing.
I can't remember what it's called, but like somewhere near Joshua Tree, there is like a post-apocalyptic town, and everybody goes and does their Mad Max cosplay and gets high for a week or whatever. But I definitely think they need to expand.
Waterworld would be way more fun.
Yeah, they need to do the atoll. Like they need to expand.
I just want a guy, when you show up, you're not allowed to use money. You just have to bring dirt, but there's a guy that tastes it to make sure it's
that's
dirt. Pure dirt. Like, what are you tasting for?
And then you find out that guy doesn't think that this is for funsies.
No, he's got jars of dirt back there. He's collecting it.
There all the time.
Love the realism. All right, keep going.
Waterworld.
Wild horses, boats and hoes.
That's brilliant.
Oh man, keep the politics out of my water world.
Yeah.
It's actually
Wild, wild, wet.
Oh, finish.
The Mariner may have taught her to swim, but Napoleon Dynamite taught her to love.
Same girl. That blew my mind.
That's Tita Adreno.
Yeah.
You would think there would be more. I'm all surprised. One thing I was like keeping notes on because I was convinced it would come up a bunch is like environmental messages.
All the rage in the 90s before we gave up.
This era, right? We hadn't given up and just surrendered to let the oceans retake us. It's a movie about the polar ice caps melting, flooding the whole world, and yet they mention it like 3 times. It's like really not a very environmental movie.
Right up top, and then right near the end when you find out, it's the Exxon Valdez.
And then there's like one, like Michael Jeter has one line like, oh, what did the ancient humans do to ruin the planet? But that's it. Otherwise, it's purely just like, this is what happened.
Well,
that's too much in my opinion.
But like, the most movies, especially from this era that made it, there would be a lot of like speechifying, like, oh, those humans couldn't figure out how to organize themselves.
Well, Costner crossed out all of those lines.
Yeah, maybe.
The Mariner was supposed to say those lines.
Yeah.
And he was like, what if just I didn't say anything.
What if I just said my boat in this scene?
That was supposed to be his stern speech. That was supposed to be.
What have the ancients done? Like they've rejected this blessed earth. But he's like, I'm just gonna say my boat.
I'm just gonna say my boat.
That was his. We'll fight them in the beaches. We'll fight them.
I'm not even saying that. I'm not saying that as a criticism. Like I'm glad the movie expresses the idea that like, look, we're screwing over the earth without needing to get into it.
It's a real show don't tell. Yeah.
It's just surprising. You would think it would be a lot more heavy-handed.
Yeah. I was reading that if all of the ice caps melt, every single one of them, that the water would rise like 750 feet, something like that.
Which would still blow.
Which is bad.
Which is not good.
Yeah, it would be terrible.
But like we'd have more than Everest to live on.
Yes,
you know, all kinds of mountains we could huddle up
And drink our own pee.
and gather dirt.
It's the opposite of saving the cat.
Don't quote me on that.
Movie with
Yeah.
the salvaging the pee.
Keep going.
That may have
Have your
been the
hero
laughing
drink
stock of
his
Hollywood
pee.
for being an expensive
audience on
set-sinking
side.
vanity project made by two guys who hate each other.
Oh, yeah.
They can't
Starring-
quit each other.
Oh,
Subpar Mariner, Kevin COUSTEAU,
Killy.
Kevin's Away, Emotion in the Ocean, Ocean 11, For Waterca Mars,
She's in Veronica.
Smoker and the Bandits. Is
'Cause
that Jack Black?
Yep.
And Tenacious C. Inconvenient Truth 3, Mariner Rising,
That's pretty good
dumb.
too.
Mad Max, Fury Boat, Beyond Thunderboat, The Watery World of Kevin Costner.
Why not?
And Finger Blaster.
All we want is your seed. I want you to make me pregnant.
Would someone just take Kevin's sperm already? Jeez.
Take Kevin's
Wait,
sperm.
there's a Snyder cut of Waterworld? Yes! Exactly what I needed. More Waterworld.
Great read by John.
That's really, I haven't heard that.
Yes.
Never heard him get that high
Yeah.
pitch.
That's really good.
That comes from a real place.
Yeah.
That's just his real love.
We did not do the expanded cut, unfortunately, because I remember like seeing Mount Everest in the film.
Yeah, there's like a sign
pan
or something
over.
that
But I guess
we-
Not in the
that's
original
only in the Snyder
theatrical.
cut of Waterworld.
So I did some reading.
Yeah.
Oh boy.
And there was the theatrical cut, and then like a Bernstein Bear thing kind of happened where when it came out for TV, it was like 30 minutes longer, I think.
Wow.
Like there was a ton more footage, like the Everest thing, and there was like a lot more smoker stuff
Yeah,
with them like
that's what I was gonna say
making
is
bullets. And,
I have
Yeah.
memories of more time being spent on the Valdez before the
Yeah.
rescue operation. Like when we were, when just this past time when we were watching it, it goes real quick. She gets taken there, and then all of a sudden she's like, "He's gonna come get me," and you
Right.
get the scene of him breaking in.
Yeah.
And yeah, there definitely was more of like how they go about their day-to-day smoker lives.
yeah, and which thank God.
Yeah, really I need to hear this.
It's
kind of
good
stuff.
for my
real-
LARP to get into
need
character.
that-
We
need
need to
that
know
Murrell
the
Lorehead.
day-to-day.
But yeah, so there was that, and then some dude. This is way back in the day. Some guy like there were different cuts depending on where it was syndicated, and some
Okay.
guy like pulled them all together and did this
Yeah.
one thing he called the Ulysses cut.
Yes.
Yeah.
And I think that's what the Blu-ray is.
Okay.
And that man was Kevin Reynolds.
It was Kevin Reynolds. Yeah, with
Ulysses,
all the
great.
swears and the violence.
Is that
back.
like the Iliad? Is that a reference
yeah,
to
it's
because
the-
he's on a
Well, because
watery
they call him.
Odyssey?
That's another one of the cutscenes. Is she names him at the end, and she names him Ulysses.
I remember that from the book. That actually
I can't
does
remember.
remind me.
Did we talk about the novelization
Wait,
in this
well-
version of this show?
No, because oh right, did we? Yeah, I don't remember.
remember.
We had a false start, and then the video broke.
How do they know that reference?
What?
There's no paper. How do they know Ulysses?
Maybe that was on the paper he sold her butt
Well,
to
Mi-
Kim Coates for.
Michael Jeter's a Homeric scholar. Is that I missed that part?
Yes.
They're reading the classics.
It's an oral tradition, you know.
Oh,
people-
I see, okay.
We'll be telling our kids about Ulysses.
Ulysses.
I'll tell my children of the Mariner.
Yes.
Tales of the Mariner.
Amazing. One last thing we wanted to leave you with.
Oh, yes.
Our intrepid editor Kevin. If you recall last week, we ended on a seaman joke. How appropriate, a seaman.
Seaman.
Talking about the Jackson Pollock line from Guardians of the Galaxy, and he
Yeah.
maintained that there was like a squishing noise that you could hear when he walks around the Milano.
And we all went, nah.
And, that's disgusting. I can't believe they would do that.
Yeah,
And
it seems like Disney would put the kibosh on
they'd
something
catch
like
that. But we're going to roll the clip, and you decide if you hear Star-Lord stepping in his own.
We have to stop Ronan.
How? I have a plan.
Is it how close is this in the movie to the line about is it right after?
No, it's pretty far after.
Because it could be like there's just a rapper or
Play
trash
it one more
or
time.
something.
One more time.
We have to stop Ronan.
How? I have a plan.
Such a gross noise.
That was weird.
I hope you're all listening with headphones. Anyways,
I don't like it.
You chew on that for a week, and we'll discuss next time.
You know what? I think Disney right to fire him. That's it. Get him out of the building. I changed my vote.
Thank you, Kevin, for bringing that to our attention, and thank you for watching. Next week we'll be back. The clue to next week is in the title, the fake title of this week. Check it out. We'll see you then.
Wet movies
Bye-bye.
every week.